Mr. Chair, it's 10 o'clock. Do you want to start?
Oh, it helps if I'm not on mute, right? So, okay, we should have a quorum by now. So thank you, Stoyan, and thank you everyone for joining. Let's start out with roll call, and then we'll go on for some introductions to non-members.
Andrew Klein,
I'm
Acting
here.
Chair, representing General Public.
I'm here.
Anthony Mashmet, representing General Construction, Residential, and Multifamily Housing.
Sorry, I'm here. Sorry.
Jay Arnold,
Here.
representing City Elected Legislative Body Member or Mayor.
Here.
Al French, representing County Elected Legislative Body Member or Elected Executive, east of the Cascades. James Milbauer, representing General Construction, Commercial and Industrial Buildings.
Present.
Robert Graper, representing Structural Engineers. Tony Doan, representing Local Government Fire Service officials.
Here.
Shell Anderson, representing architects.
Present.
Phil Lemley, representing City Elected Legislative Body Members or Mayors east of the Cascades.
Good morning, everyone. Philip Lemley here.
Corey Wilker, representing Construction Building Trades.
No.
Here.
Robert Hamlin, representing County Elected Legislative Body Member or Elected Executive.
I'm here.
Caroline Traub, representing Mechanical Engineers.
Here.
Micah Chappelle, representing Building Code Enforcement Officials. Todd Bayreuther, representing manufacturers, installers, or suppliers.
Here.
Representative Alex Ramel. Representative Larry Hoff.
Here.
Senator Linda Wilson. Senator Joan Nguyen. Lauren Lathrop.
I am here.
And Dirk Meyer-Bachtal, our Assistant Attorney General.
Good morning, I'm here.
This is Commissioner Al French, and I'm also here.
All right, well, thank you. Would anyone from the public like to introduce themselves? Now would be the time. Let me see if you have any call-ins. It looks like everyone's on online, so yep, I'll open up the floor to introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Terry Beals, representing Sound Transit.
Welcome, Terry.
Good morning, Jed Sherman with the IATMO Group.
Welcome, Jed.
Good morning. This is Andrea Smith with Building Industry Association of Washington.
Welcome, Andrea.
Morning, this is Adam Hutchinson with the Northwest Concrete Masonry Association.
Welcome, Adam.
Kevin Dewell with Northwest Natural.
Thank you, Kevin. Welcome. All right, going once, going twice. Okay, let's take a look at the agenda. We'll review and approve that if it looks good.
Motion to approve. This is Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
This is Joe.
Thank you, Michelle. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. So I think we're going to have a short executive session. Stoyan, do you have an idea how long you'd like that to be?
Following the information I got from Dirk, probably 15-20 minutes.
All right, let's do 20 minutes. So let me read off the official script. The council will now meet in executive session to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation to which the agency is or may be a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency as allowed by RCW 42.30.110(1)(I). The council will be in executive session until 11:25. The council is expected to take further action following the executive session. So thank you, and we will be back in
You
about
did
20 minutes.
mean 10:25, correct?
Yeah, did I say 11:25? I'm sorry. So yes, the council will be in executive session until 10:25. All right, thanks everyone for your patience. I will not extend anymore, so I call the regular meeting back to order. We'll wait just one more minute or so to make sure everyone's in, and then we'll get started again on item number 4. Okay, so let's get back to the agenda. Item number 4. Are there any public comments that anyone would like to make on items which are not on the agenda? Going once, going twice. All righty, let's move on then to number 5, review and approve the November 19th minutes. So hopefully you looked at them ahead of time, but if not, they're up on the screen now, and feel free to make a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Thank you,
I
Jay.
second.
Thank you, Jim. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? And motion passes. All right, now up to the fun part, election of officers. Stoyan, I will hand that over to you.
We have a summary of the rules out of our bylaws, how the council choose the council chair, and you remember that the previous chair was replaced about midterm, and we couldn't appoint a new chair. So now is the time, the first meeting of the year, to appoint a new chair. Thanks to Andrew, he jumped in his new role as an acting chair, and he did a good job. But now is the time to pick a new chair. And you see again the highlighted area from our bylaws. It's once per year. So anybody can appoint a chair, and we need a vote. We need 8 votes to approve the chair.
So are there any nominations for anyone, or you can nominate yourself? Mr. French.
Yes, can the current chair serve another term?
I am willing and able to serve another term.
Then I would nominate Andrew Klein to serve as chair.
Well,
I will
thank you,
second
Al.
that. Second that.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Would anyone else like to make a nomination? Going once. Oh,
My
Mr.
hand up.
Wilker.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Tony Doan as chair.
Thank you. Tony, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I accept.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Anthony. Anyone else want to make a nomination? Shell.
Just to be clear, we're only nominating for chair, not also vice chair. Is that correct?
Yes, this is for chair.
Okay, just chair. Okay.
Any additional nominations? All right, so Stoyan, how do we do a vote?
We will do a roll call vote. So we will vote for Andrew first and see how many nominations, and then we'll vote for Tony. Not we, you, the council members. But if there are other suggestions.
Okay, go ahead, Tony.
During the voting, do the nominations abstain from the vote and see how it plays out, or how's that work?
I see no reason to abstain.
Okay.
I would ask Dirk if he sees any legal issues with that. I personally don't, but I'm not an expert.
Oh, I'm only an expert in reading the words in front of me on these bylaws, and there is nothing in the bylaws or in Robert's rules that I'm aware of which would preclude somebody from voting for themselves during a officer election. I would note too that 8 votes are required as a minimum, and so we'd want to make sure that we're not disadvantaging that.
All right, thank you, Al.
Yeah, it seemed to me that if you can nominate yourself, you can vote for yourself. So that should be fairly straightforward.
So, okay, any additional nominations so people can consider that during votes? Yep, Tony?
One other thing, just a thought here, is just to clean this up, would it be easier if, because I don't really I don't care really either way who chairs it. And so if I just did not accept the nomination for chair, and that would probably clean this up, and then maybe the vice chair would be a better fit.
Does anyone have a problem with that?
I think that's, sorry, I didn't raise my hand, but I think that's a good idea to resolve it. I think we did that before with something that someone agreed to be nominated for chair and somebody else agreed to be nominated for vice chair, and it just made it a little easier process.
Yeah.
I believe it would be Mr. Doan's choice if he wants to not accept the nomination for chair, in which case I'll remove my promotion for it and I'll ask for him to be vice chair.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay. So then I guess if we're doing all this together, anyone else want to nominate themselves or someone else for vice chair? All right, Tony, in the interest of full disclosure, my second term is coming to an end. So I'm going to reapply for a third term, but if for whatever reason the governor doesn't appoint me, then you'll be acting chair.
Okay, and just for full disclosure too, I filled in for someone last year when I was appointed. And so my term also has technically ended, and I'm an acting council member, and I have just reapplied also. So the same thing could happen to me. So just, yeah, so everyone knows.
So if we are going into disclosures, I tried to clarify if we have reappointments for Tony and Andrew, and I didn't get any information in return. So the process is still open.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we've not taken any votes yet. Al.
So if Tony and Andrew are not reappointed, does that mean we don't meet for the rest of the year? Just a question.
So if we go to item 5 of the bylaws, it says if both chair and vice chair are absent from a council meeting, the members of the council shall elect one of the members in attendance to serve as chair pro tem.
Stoyan, if you don't mind me jumping in.
Yes, sir. I was going to ask you to jump in.
Yeah, okay. I actually had a question, if you don't mind, Tony, for you are you finishing your first term or your second term? I don't know off the top of my head.
This is the first term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
It just wasn't a full 3 year. I came in just the final year,
Okay.
mid 2021.
And Andrew, you've wrapped up your second term or in the process of that?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, okay, any further discussion? All right, so let's do things separately. If the vote for me fails, then I'm sure that Tony, would accept a nomination back. So let's do this separately. So let's do a roll. Should we just do a roll call vote on both, Stoyan? Or
I would say yes, but you're the chair if you think otherwise.
okay. Yeah, roll call vote. No offense taken either way. It's just business. So go ahead, Stoyan.
Krista,
Andrew Klein,
I'll abstain.
Anthony Mashmet,
Andrew.
Jay Arnold,
Yes, for Andrew.
Al French,
Yes, for Andrew.
James Milbauer,
Yes, for Andrew.
Tony Doan,
Yes, for Andrew.
Chell Anderson,
Andrew,
Phil Lemley,
Yes, for Andrew.
Corey Wilker,
Yes, for Andrew.
Robert Hamlin,
Yes, for Andrew.
Carolyn Traub,
Yes, for Andrew.
Todd Bayreuther.
Yes, for Andrew.
Okay, do we want to go straight into Tony for vice chair?
Yep, let's do that.
Andrew Klein,
I will hold off on a vote if I have to, if there's a tie.
Anthony Mashmet,
Yes, for Tony.
Jay Arnold,
Yes, for Tony.
Al French,
Yes, for Tony.
James Milbauer,
Yes, for Tony.
Tony Doan,
I'll abstain.
Chell Anderson,
yes, for Tony.
Phil Lemley,
Yes, for Tony.
Corey Wilker,
Yes, for Tony.
Robert Hamlin,
Yes, for Tony.
Carolyn Traub,
Yes, for Tony.
Todd Bayreuther.
Yes, for Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Congratulations. Corey,
Yeah, I just had a point of order. I nominated him for chair and then we changed it, but I don't believe we had a second for vice chair. And I don't know if that causes issues if we don't have separate nominations and seconds for each position.
I don't think that there's an official nomination process. Stoyan, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong. I was just going through some motions that I thought were appropriate, but
in general, each motion needs a second.
okay.
Yeah, that's not in the bylaws, but it's bylaws do require that Robert rules be followed. I think maybe a curative second would be helpful here. I'm not sure we need to, unless someone else has a different point of view. I'm not sure we need to walk through the roll call again.
Okay.
I'll second the nomination.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, you got a second and a third. So, all right. So official congratulations now, Tony, then.
Congrats to you.
Congratulations for both of you.
Thank you, Stoyan. So, all right, next up, I believe is
Chell
appointment
is
of committees.
Chell was raising his hand. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Chell.
No, that was the clapping symbol for.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Congratulations.
I guess I need to put my glasses.
Okay, so appointment of committees, Stoyan, do you want to bring those up?
Yes, sir. So we need chairs for each technical advisory group, and we need to appoint or reappoint the standing committees. And what you see on the screen, it says members attendance record, but we use these tables to show who is currently chairing these technical advisory groups. So let's start with the building code tag, and Andrew is the current chair. So what we need to do with the technical advisory groups, appoint or reappoint a chair, and then if there are council members that want to be part of the technical advisory groups, these council members, if they want to vote during the technical advisory group meetings, they need to be appointed as members of the technical advisory groups.
Okay. Any questions? So did anyone want to, so, okay, here is what we have. And I guess question is, would anyone like to volunteer for any that are up there? I'll ask that first. And then if no one volunteers, then I'll ask if the person currently assigned is still willing to do that. So any volunteers, and if you're currently assigned, you can volunteer again. So Shell.
I'll be happy to do the energy code tag over the summer again.
Thank you. And I know that's a lot of work. So yes, thank you very much. Tony?
I would be happy to stay as the chair of the fire code tag as well. So
Thank you, Tony. Any other volunteers?
This is Corey. I'd like to volunteer to remain on the plumbing tag.
Thank you, Corey.
And this is Caroline. I'm happy to remain as the mechanical code chair.
Thank you, Caroline. So I'm thinking Micah may be willing to stay on residential, but he's not here to speak for himself. Would anyone like either building or residential?
The only thing Micah asked me to state if it's needed was that he's not interested to be a chair, council chair. He didn't say anything about the technical advisory groups, and he's a new chair of the residential technical advisory group. So I assume he would like to stay.
Okay, good. I'm happy to stay in the building code tag chair position, but I'm also happy to let that go if anyone would like it.
Yes, Krista, thank you, Krista. So we haven't discussed the we code, yes, but we are establishing a technical advisory group for the we code. I was planning to ask Tony and Ray to provide a little bit more information, but since we're here, I guess we need to start with we need to start with this earlier.
So WUI, I think it makes sense to have it fire / WUI, just like building and existing. But Tony, what are your thoughts?
I concur.
Andrew, can I get a, this is Ray, can I get a clarification that are you automatically delegating the fire tag as the WUI tag as well? Because we may have a problem there. Tony, correct me if I'm wrong. There's some people that were not interested in that.
It's yeah, that's correct. It is going to be made up of a different group, but with members of the fire tag. And so that was my understanding of it. But that being said, yeah, I mean, I don't mind sharing that.
All right, so you're thinking it's better than as a separate, and Tony will just chair that as well, and maybe we can schedule meetings together.
I would say yes, just because we already have a fire tag that's wrapped up and done, and there's a lot of people with interest in being on this tag.
Okay.
So as a point of order, I can offer two options. The first one is the council will vote for the chair of the new technical advisory group. Or the second option, we can do it later after the technical advisory group is established. There is no problem with voting for a technical advisory group chair in the middle of the year or wherever it's ready.
Tony, if you want it, I say we'll just do it now.
That sounds good.
I nominate Tony Doan to be the tag chair of the WUI code tag.
Thank you, Corey. I'm thinking we'll probably just do a full vote with it all together, you know, with a motion in a second. But take a look at what's up there. Speak up now if you want any changes. If not, I'll take a motion to approve what we've got on the screen for the tag chairs for 2022.
So moved.
Thank you, Shell.
This is Corey, second.
Thank you, Corey. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? And motion passes. All right.
Mr. Chair, for again, point of order. Again, if there are TAC members that are interested attending the technical advisory groups, not only as on a listening mode, but if they want to vote, these folks need to be appointed by the council. So if there are volunteers that want to work as a TAC member, then now is the time.
Okay, so does everyone understand that as a member here? So anyone inside of the SBCC as well as members of the public all need to be approved.
No, the members of the public, we don't need to approve the members of the public, but we need to be specific on the council members that are attending the technical advisory group meetings. These meetings are open, but the council members need to be appointed if they want to be TAC members.
Okay, makes sense. So I've got two hands up, but yeah, anyone that wants to be a voting member on any of these tags, and remember, you'll be part of the quorum at that point, so it's important to attend. Shell, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question. Is this the only meeting of the year where people can ask to be part of tags or committees? Or
No.
Can it happen at any time?
It can happen at any time.
Okay, thanks.
Todd?
I'll volunteer to continue on the building code tag, please.
Thank you. Any others?
Andrew,
Yep, go ahead, Phil.
I would like to be on the building code tag.
Thank you. Any other council members want to have a vote on any of these tags? All right. If no one else wants to volunteer for anything, if we can get a motion for Todd and Phil being on the building code tag.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I think that was what, Al and Shell?
Hey, Arnold.
Or Jay, sorry, Jay and Shell. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, now down to the standing committees. We've got BFP. Currently, I am the chair of that, and Tony is vice chair. Would anyone else like to volunteer to be chair and or vice chair?
And we also have one seat left for a council member.
Okay. So yeah, speak up if you'd like to be on there as a member or as a chair or vice chair. Tony, are you willing to continue as vice chair?
Yes.
Okay. Corey and Robert, are you both willing to continue on as members?
I am.
Yes.
This is Corey.
This is Robert.
Okay, thank you. And would anyone else like to join? All right, and I guess Micah is willing to stay on. I guess we can do each one separately by voice. Can we get a motion for what you see on the screen to approve that?
So moved. This is Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Second, Joe.
Thank you, Shell. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? And motion passes. So MVE. That's what we've got up. We've got Shell, Caroline, I'm on there, Jay, Todd, and Phil. Anyone want to volunteer for chair and vice chair? And Shell and Caroline, feel free to speak up if you're willing to stay.
I'm happy to continue as chair.
And I'm happy to continue as vice chair.
All right, thank you.
We also have one seat available here for a council member.
Okay. Anyone want to sit on that? That's a fun standing committee.
Same here, Andrew.
Phil? Okay, you're
Yeah.
willing to continue on. Thank you.
I'd be willing to join.
Thank you, Tony. You go by Tony or Anthony? I'm sorry.
Either one.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Anyone else want to join? All right. If we can have a motion then for what you see on the screen.
So moved.
Tony, so moved.
Shell second.
Thank you, Tony and Shell. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? And motion passes. All right, on to the legislative committee.
Okay, so this one, sorry, Andrew, but
No,
it
go
looks a
ahead.
little funny, and it looks funny because Andrew had a few roles here, and he was written in the list with each different role, so it appeared that he had a few votes on this committee, which he didn't. But we need the vice chair. Currently, we don't have any. The council chair is also a member of this committee. Andrew is shown here as a council vice chair, but we will change that. The other members are the chair of the BFP committee and the chair of the MVE committee, and the only member is Phil Lemley. Well, I mean, member without holding any chair.
All right, thank you, Stoyan. Todd, are you willing to continue on as chair?
I am interested. Thank you.
All righty. Would anyone like to be vice chair? Phil,
Ooh,
any interest?
okay,
All right, thank you.
okay.
All right, and would anyone else like to join the legislative committee as a member? Jay?
Before I throw my hat in the ring, a question on the workload of this particular committee. Could the chair or somebody talk about how often this committee meets and when?
The committee meets every Friday during the legislative session, which usually January, March, this time January, February. It's a short session, and it's as needed. So if there is information that I can share with the committee members, I will. If there is not any bill that deserves your attention, I won't schedule a meeting. And
Is there a regular time for that meeting?
11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, the meetings are usually short, not over 1 hour if we get there.
Mr. Chair, I'd be interested in volunteering for this committee.
All right, thank you, Jay. Todd, anything you want to add?
No, I think, especially with Stoyan, the workload is light on the council members, heavy on Stoyan, but it's a valuable, it's valuable to meet every week during session.
Yeah, and there really aren't any or many motions made. We don't make any decisions other than maybe bring something to the council. So if you're not able to make some meetings well, I think it's always important to have a quorum, but it's probably one of the committees where it's least important to have a quorum. Jim, go ahead.
Thank you, Andrew. I don't know if there's room for someone else, but I would be interested if so.
Sure.
So we have Todd as chair, we have Phil, the vice chair, we have Andrew, the council chair, we have Tony, the council vice chair, and we have one seat available, which is usually for the chair of the BFP committee, but Andrew is the council chair and the chair of the BFP committee, so we can have one more person here.
Actually, no, this would be 7 people, so one more would give us a quorum of the council.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, if we have, so I have Todd, Phil, Andrew, Tony, Chell, and Phil Lemley, which is 6.
And Jay Arnold.
Oh, Jay, yes. Okay, sorry, Jim. Jim.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Apologize.
Wait, Jim is number 7 or Jim is?
No, he's number 8.
No, Jim is number 7.
7.
Mhm.
I don't see Jay in my list. Todd, Phil, Andrew, Tony, Chell.
Jay
Phil.
just volunteered.
Okay, I get it. But with Jay, we have 7. So we don't have a seat for Jim.
No, well, take a look at what's on the screen that Chris is sharing. Is that?
Andrew, Jay, okay, sorry, my bad.
All right. And Phil, are you happy staying on as vice chair? Do you want me to ask the question if, since you were a little reluctant, if anyone else is?
Well, I would yield to Jim if he would be willing to do that.
Jim?
As vice chair,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know all that entails, but I could give it a try.
You got it.
Thank you, Phil, I think.
You'll be okay. It's not that much work for you. Like Todd said, it's a lot of work for staff. So, okay. Any further comments on what you see on the screen for the legislative committee? And if we could get a motion to approve what you see.
So moved. This is Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Second from Chell.
Thank you, Shell. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? And motion passes. All right, executive committee there. I don't think that there's any changes that can be made to that. Do we need to take a vote, or since that's in the bylaws?
No, that's by default.
Okay, so that's just for everyone's information. As chairs of the standing committees, we're on the executive committee.
This group has a lot of attention, but it's not really a choice. The group, the work group of economic impact, the members of this group are the technical advisory group chairs, and plus the council chair. So I don't think we need to vote on that.
Okay. And any questions or comments before we move on? All right, I'll add Chris to catch up here, and then we'll move on.
I think that's everybody.
Building residential. Yep. All righty.
And just a question, is this a quorum? This is not a quorum of the council, so we're good, right? Because Andrew's twice.
No, Andrew is twice, and I think Tony is twice. That.
Mhm. Okay, so next up, meeting schedules for the year.
We have two schedules. So this is the meeting schedule, and then we will discuss the modifications, the amendments to the current 2021 code adoption cycle schedule. So these are the meetings, and when you are reviewing the dates, Krista, can you please open the Excel spreadsheet if you have access to it? If you don't, I'll try to describe what we got. I saved it like 30 minutes before the meeting, so I'm not sure if you had a chance to. If you don't, it's okay. We'll continue with the schedule. Great. Okay. So Ray developed this visual tool for you to understand that, you know, these cells with the color are days that are already reserved, and we have many other meetings that are not included here. So the final version would be, we will have more colors than white cells. What I'm trying to say is that it's a very busy schedule, and we may end up having some weeks having meetings each day of the week, or having 2 meetings per day. So I'm new with this group 1, group 2, but it seems group 2 code development and adoption is kind of tough and difficult to meet the deadline and schedule our meetings. So again, it's just for you to understand that we have a little room to move around, but not that much. So Krista, if we can go back to, okay. I sent you the draft a while ago, and I posted it about a week ago. The version you have that I originally sent, and the version that you're looking at right now, and that was posted as a final draft / proposal, the changes for the BFP and the MVE committees, instead 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. by a request, Chel's request, we made them 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. And there was a change here in the April council meeting. Originally, it was Friday, April 15th, I believe, and now it's Friday, April 22nd. Virtual versus in-person meeting. I don't know how long we'll have virtual meetings. We'll follow what's going on in the state. I have most of the meetings virtual, but if I can, it will change to in person when the time comes. So again, this is the staff proposal. It needs to be approved by the council. So if you have issues with some of the dates, it's your the ball is in your field.
All right, any comments? All right, if not, would anyone like to make a motion?
This is Corey. I make a motion that we accept the meeting schedule as posted.
Thank you, Corey.
This is Jim, and I'll second that.
Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? The motion passes. So busy year we've got.
Okay, so the next schedule, this is 2021-2022 code review and adoption schedule. It was originally approved in June 2020, and then it was revised in 2021, and now this is the second revision. We started late with this code adoption cycle because we didn't get the model codes on time, and then we got some delays related to the energy code, and we got some delays in addition to that because we I guess we weren't prepared to follow the new requirements that we had under the Administrative Procedure Act. So we needed more time to prepare the submittal documents, the CR 102 and the summary and the cost benefit analysis. So here is the new version. As I said, there was a change that I failed to incorporate here, but on this schedule, the council meeting in April is set to April 15, and it should be April 22nd. The red color in November is a wake-up call for everybody because the codes need to be approved by December 1st. So the November meeting is very important. What else is we'll have for group 1, we'll have 3 dates for public hearings. On February 11th, we will have public hearing for IBC and IFC, the Building and the Fire Code. On February 25th, we will have a hearing for the Energy Code only. And on March 11, if there are more folks that want to submit comments or want to speak up, we'll have another meeting for all 3 codes on March 11. We have in this schedule, we have the adoption meeting for group 1 set to April 22nd, the council meeting in April 22nd. Keep in mind that the public hearings, they're not planned to be council meetings. They are public hearings. We'll have whoever wants to comment on the codes. This is why it's unusual. When you see it, it's unusual because the last time I think the meetings were council meetings and hearings at the same time. But at this time we wanted to separate, these different types of meetings. The public hearing and written testimony in group 2 codes, we have 1 date in September and we have 1 date in October. And I'm not sure if we need a 3rd meeting. I'm not sure we will have available dates for that. So currently very tough, and it will be tougher after we pass May. Okay, this is my introduction.
Thank you, Stoyan. Shell.
Yes, Stoyan, thank you. This is a complicated year, and I appreciate all the diligence staff has had in putting this together. I am anticipating that we will need an additional council meeting in October or November. I am anticipating that the Energy Code will attract attention, as it often does. And I would like to make sure that we can meet our December 1st or end of November date for passing something that will become the 2021 Washington State Energy Code for residential. And I guess I anticipate that we will not be a simple one or two meeting passage. So I'd like to at least hold the date for another meeting in case that's required before the end of November.
So we have one on November 18. Yes, well, if we cannot complete the work, we can have a special meetings. We already had one for the Energy Code in September. So two options: we can reserve, we can add another date for another meeting at the end of November, or we can follow how much work will get done, and if we need extra meetings, we can schedule extra meetings.
I guess I worry that the end of November is full of travel and other things, in achieving a quorum might be more difficult after the November 17th meeting, depending upon when it was scheduled.
So you're asking for one in early November?
Yeah, I'm just making a suggestion that we accommodate maybe another option or another meeting. And I guess it would be, we have the last hearing on the 14th. We have our next, an actual council meeting on the 21st. And that, yeah, probably between the 21st and 17th that we add, I don't know, or 18th rather, add a meeting. I don't want to miss our deadline. And I know there will be a robust discussion.
We could do that, or we could just assume that the 21st will go longer than 2 p.m.
That's possible also. I think that's another option, is that you're talking about the November, the 21st and maybe the November 18th. Yeah, we've struggled to get a quorum too far after 2 p.m. So maybe if those meetings are, we suggested that maybe they might be longer, so people hold it on their calendar. That might be better than adding another meeting.
Okay, Stoyan, what do you think of that?
I think that will work.
Okay, so yeah, just a note, these meetings are expected to, run longer than an average meeting, or past 2 p.m. Yeah, I like that. Shel, is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
I know that we had several important members that had to leave the last time we discussed this with the commercial code at 2 o'clock, and just want to make sure that we are, all the voices in the room as long as we can. To the extent that we are able to discuss the code to the council's satisfaction.
Yeah, a few important members and also me. I had to leave too. Todd, go ahead.
Thank you. I assume that also goes for the hearings. Related to the hearings in February, Group 1, could you please explain again the March 11th? Is that overflow, or is it a second opportunity to testify?
Our intent was to have two meetings, one on February 11th and one on February 25th, one for the Energy Code only and one for the other two codes. After coordinating with Dirk and discussing some legal issues that we may have, we decided to add a third meeting. The bylaws are requiring us to have 2 meetings, so one on the east side of the state and one on the west side of the state. We most likely our meetings will be online via Zoom. So our initial intent was, okay, we'll have 2 meetings, but we won't have 2 meetings for each code. So we wanted to spend more time for the energy code only, and we believed that we will have enough time for fire and building code on February 11. However, again, coordinating with Dirk, we added March 11. So it's not overflow. We're just meeting our obligations under the bylaws and the procedures and the WAC.
Jay?
If we will open the meeting, if there are no comments, they will wait a little bit and we'll adjourn.
Thank you, Stoyan. Jay?
Well, I appreciate Chel's wisdom in thinking about the extra time that might be taken to close on the energy code. I would just ask that whether we're extending meetings or add a special meeting, that we make those decisions and finalize those schedules as early as possible, both for council members and for stakeholders that are going to be very interested in this. I would much prefer having a meeting on the calendar now that we don't use versus trying to scramble like we did last fall to add a special meeting when we needed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Shel?
I guess to that, I guess if it's reasonably possible, yeah, to Jay's point, having the certainty earlier, if staff was able to send out Outlook hold the date ones for all of these meetings, that would probably be better. I do that myself, but it's if I forget one or something, then it's easy for other people to book time at that. So if staff was able to send out hold the dates for all of these and then update them with Zoom information or agendas later, that would be great from my perspective. And it would then allow the certainty that Jay was asking for.
Thank you, Shel. So Shel and Jay, did you want to get an additional meeting scheduled, or are you at peace leaving it, stating that we'll go probably till about 4 p.m. on the 21st and the 18th, and then calling a special meeting if necessary?
My preference would be at least to have staff ask about a calendar hold between the meeting on the 21st and the 17th so that we have some time blocked off.
All right, well, let's get
noticing.
All right, let's get something then added in, and if we can just make a note, if necessary,
And I think these meetings might go long. So if we schedule them for 4 and we have an Outlook hold on our calendars, then we'll not get meetings scheduled at 3 o'clock, hopefully.
Okay. So Krista, you've got there October 28th or November 4th. I guess we should just commit to one or the other. You want to say November 4th, gives a little more time since the last meeting, just in case there are any action items. Any other questions or comments? Someone was about to talk. No? Okay. All right, everyone, like what you see up there. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Andrew.
Thanks, Phil.
Second, this is Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We'll wait for Krista to save stuff and get back to the agenda. All right, MVE Standing Committee Report. Shell?
Yes, so I will open my document. The MVE committee met to review the work of the energy code tag on the integrated draft for the residential energy code upcoming. So the energy code tag was tasked with comparing the 2018 residential energy code with the 2021 national code and comparing these two documents and integrating them. So it's called an integrated draft. And most of the language is cleanup or rearranging, adding definitions and that kind of things. But when there is a stringency change between the 2018 Washington Code and the 2021 National Code or International Code, we are to use the more stringent, which is what we did in I think almost all cases. The result is a base code for the 2021 Washington State Energy Code residential proposals. So this is not rules that we are adopting or anything like that right now. This is a base code for proposals that will change the code that the council and then the tag and then the council will go through a long process after this to modify, to update, to meet all of our requirements and goals and clean it up. So there's nothing really controversial in this. It was not contentious. We did it in a single meeting in December. So it's just the base for code proposals to come in over the next few months. So this will go out to a public process. We will entertain code proposals. We'll probably get 100 of them or so. And then the council will move them to the tag. The tag will review them over probably 8 meetings. The tag will then forward the recommendations to the MVE committee. MVE committee will then forward the recommendations to the council. The council will then move into a public comment process called the CR 102. And then we will have those public comments back for the Washington State Energy Code residential, have a few hearings on that, and then the council will debate that. So there's a long process ahead of us. This effort was only to come up with a base code for which proposals can be added. So in this document, you can see the green text has just been moved, not modified, and the red text shows where stuff has been added or deleted. So there's just not that much has actually changed substantively. There's some rearrangement in many of the chapters, including chapter 1, administration. You see a lot of red, but those are just moving things around and adding new references or modifying references to different sections of the code. The prescriptive envelope tables for U and R values have been swapped, but it's not significant. It's just, it looks like a lot of work was done, but in fact, it was just rearranged for clarity. There were some increases to the ceiling wall and slab insulation requirements that were in the model code. So those were in the way that we do the integrated draft, adopted into this integrated draft. But code proposals can change that and probably will change that. Duct testing is now proposed to be required for ducts within conditioned space. Increase in fan efficacy requirements for Energy Star 4.0. Required testing for ventilation system flow rates. There's a requirement for 100% high efficacy lighting. some new lighting controls in here. And probably what we will talk about when the council debates this code in October and November, what we'll talk about mostly is the R406 options table, because that's where most of the efficiency occurs and where most of the tag's time will be spent, is the R406 options table, that where there's a certain number of points required, and there is also lots of options to choose to get those points. That was not modified in the integrated draft. It's a really complicated bit of work to modify it. And the tag is going to await wonderful proposals during the upcoming proposal period to modify the R406 requirements, number of credits, and options available. So basically the most controversial and substantive part of the Energy Code residential was not modified in this round because it's just too complicated for the tag to adopt at this time without, so we're waiting for proposals on that. The only thing that was adopted in here is under, there's a fuel normalization table under the R405 section, and that, not the fuel normalization table, but the carbon associated with electricity and gas and some other things. The proposal from the Energy Code put the electricity carbon quantity at 0.44, and the tag adopted that for the commercial code. And so it was the tag felt that it was probably very reasonable to put that in the base residential code, knowing that we would discuss it much later. There would be code proposals coming out about that. And then that would give us plenty of room to talk about it later, but at least put something in the base residential code that mimics what is in the CR 102 version of the commercial energy code. It's kind of for code alignment. So that's a kind of a brief overview of what the tag did, and the MVE passed on the tag recommended integrated draft without modification.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Remember, if there are issues in here, there are plenty of opportunities to put in code change proposals, which will be due probably in April. Questions, comments? All right, well, thank you, Shel.
Okay, I'll hop in the mechanical tag
Thank you,
update.
Caroline.
So our 10-member mechanical tag met 4 times in December and January. And at our first meeting, we reviewed background information in the 3 codes our tag is responsible for: the mechanical code, the mechanical chapters of the residential code, and the fuel gas code. We then kind of spent some time just ensuring everyone was clear on the 2 tasks we were trying to accomplish in this initial phase of tag work. So the existing amendments review and the significant changes review. As part of our process, we also discussed areas where there may be interest in submitting a code change proposal. So our tag was exceptionally responsible, with most members attending every meeting and everyone completing their assigned homework on time. Their time and efforts were greatly appreciated and allowed for efficient meetings and discussion. The 45-page report in front of you documents the tag recommendations for each existing amendment and significant change. So if you scroll to the bottom of the document, Krista has provided a great summary. So regarding significant changes, the tag identified 8 2021 model code changes with cost impacts. So those are highlighted in green throughout this document and include items such as there's a new IMC requirement for oil-fired appliances to be equipped with a device to stop burner operation in the event of an obstructed vent. There's also a new IMC requirement for new wood-burning residential hydronic heaters to be EPA certified. and a new IRC requirement for dryer closets, top makeup air. Just a couple examples. So as you can see, there were 54 Washington state amendments retained as is, 14 were slightly modified and 6 were removed. Just add, there was little disagreement or controversy on the recommendations in this document. I think out of anything, the most discussion was given to ventilation related topics. So I think there's some expectation or hope that a code proposal will get submitted to better describe some types of whole house ventilation requirements and how those apply to different residential occupancy types. And lastly, I'll just note, we're also trying to ensure this code cycle addresses the requirements of HB 1050, last year's legislation related to reducing greenhouse gas emissions from fluorinated gases. So we have that on our radar as well. So that is the IMC report out.
All right, well, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, well, thank you, Caroline. So progress reports on for group 1 and group 2 codes. And Stoyan, I'll hand that to you. I think we talked a lot about that already.
Yes, but we need approval on the reports that were already discussed, and this will allow us to open the submission period. Usually the plan was to have this approval on the next council meeting in February, but if everything is done and there is not any work that is expected between this meeting and the meeting in February, we better have the reports approved. And as it was stated several times, this is just the first step. This will allow staff to set the dates and start collecting the proposals.
Okay. So up on the screen there, we've got the progress reports for the group 1 and group 2 codes.
My comment, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. My comment was for the previous agenda item that was already discussed.
Oh, for the previous one to send that forward.
Yes, so we prefer if the council can approve the reports now, but again, February 21st, the meeting in February is an option as well.
Okay.
There wasn't any report ready for the building, an existing building code, and for the residential code. This is why we don't have reports for discussion today for the building and the residential code. I will spend some time to explain where are we in the process, but again, for the previous agenda item, if the council wants to vote on the reports that are already done, we'll appreciate that.
Okay, yeah, we'll go back to that and we'll make a motion on that. Any questions while we're in here though, before we go back?
Krista, if you can let me share my screen, please. Thank you. This is our website, and I'll be talking a lot about, and we all will be talking a lot about CR 102 and cost benefit analysis and small business economic impact statement and proposals and everything related to it. So what we have on our website right here, 2021 code adoption cycle, when you click on that, you have access to all codes, and the code of interest, I'll use the energy code. Everything will be saved right here. So if you need updates on any of the documents, of course you can contact us, but we will try to keep the website up to date. So the CR 102 that we were talking for more than 2 months, here it is. It's been filed, it's been published, and it opens the comment period that was part of the schedule, January 19th, March 11th. And again, everything energy code tag page, and when you go to the tag page, you'll see all documents that we have related to this code adoption process. So whatever I have in my report, it's not really something that it will be different from the information you see on the website.
All right, thanks for showing us how to get into that. Any questions? All right, so then if we go back to the residential energy code report and also the mechanical code report, Stoyan, you'd like that?
Krista, can you go back to sharing your screen?
So we need to move this forward so that you can put a the CR 102 together.
No. Usually we approve the reports for all other codes except the energy code. We have 2 reports for each code. We have the existing amendments report and we have the significant changes, which is this spreadsheet. How the process works, the council approves the reports and then we start the submittal period. So the plan for the reports was approval during the February meeting. But again, my request was, since we are already done with the mechanical code and the energy code, they can be approved now. If the council members need more time to review the reports and vote on the reports during the February meeting, that's okay too.
Okay, thank you, Stoyan. Jay?
I move approval of the residential energy code and mechanical code as presented by Chow and Carolyn.
All right, thank you.
This is Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Question. So we just booted it forward, and so now the staff will put it out for public comment. Is there any target date for that? Going out for public comment, or proposals rather?
The proposals for group 1 are already open for public comments, and the reports for group 2, after we approved our reports in February, then it will open the submission period based on the schedule that you folks just discussed. The submission period will be between February 21st and April 8th.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so let's move forward to legislative issues. Joanne and Todd, feel free to jump in.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. I'll just open it and I'll hand it to Stoyan. But we met last week. I think Stoyan, Andrew, and I were present. And again, the legislative committee, often the purpose is really to assist or give opinion to staff who's doing all the work. So with that, Stoyan, I'll hand it to you, please.
Thank you. So we have several bills that were already introduced. And before I start talking about the bills, I will spend a minute or so talking about the calendar. There is a cutoff calendar, how it's called, and it shows all dates during this legislative session. So the first day of session was January 10th. And here is, yes, thank you, Krista, I appreciate that. And we have 3 cutoff dates. One is on February 3rd, which you don't need to remember this if you're not interested, but the last day of the session is March 10th. Okay, so this is the last day allowed for regular session under the Washington State Constitution. And I will keep you updated when we get new proposals, I'm sorry, new bills for review, and I will keep you updated about the cutoff dates. So if, for example, on February 24th is the last day to read in committee reports from opposed House. What that means is the bill, if a particular bill doesn't pass that day, then the bill dies. Okay. The last session last year was the long session. Then we have several bills that died the last session, but they were introduced again this short session. DES folks are calling these bills the zombie bills, but you know, you may be aware of some of the bills we discussed during the last session. So these are reintroduced bills again that died during the last session. Okay, so this is the introduction, and I'll get to the specific bills. I want to start with HB 1770. Okay, it's something similar was introduced the last session. There was a lot of discussion. I intentionally changed the format. So thought, if you remember the format last year, was kind of a summary, but my opinion now is like it's not enough for the council members to absorb what is the issue or what is the benefit from a particular bill. So what I will be doing this time under description, I will try to summarize what is the requirement for the council, and I will go section by section. Okay, so it's a little bit more wordy, but in this case, the council members interested don't need to dig in further and try to obtain the information from the LEDGE website or whatever. What is important in this bill? Requires the council to adopt by rule a statewide residential reach code for optional adoption and achieve the reduction in energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions required in the 2031 energy code for residential buildings. So in summary, currently we have specific requirements that we need to meet by 2031, which is 2030 energy code, and this is for 70% reduction. And this bill requires the council to adopt a reach code, and the reach code will be upgraded and will be basically adoption that will usually be in 2030 energy code. This reach code will not be mandatory. The proposal talks about an appendix, so this reach code will be an appendix to 2021 residential energy code. Currently, there is a state law that says the residential energy code is the minimum and the maximum. So whatever the council adopts, the local jurisdictions cannot impose more restrictive standards. This is an option for cities and counties to adopt this reach code. Will be one step above the regular energy code. And I don't want to spend more time, but impact, we have major impact on policies and operation, and you have access to the document, and I have links here. So when you click on the link, it will open the complete analysis on this particular bill. If you want to go into details, if you don't want to spend that much time, you can rely on the information in this summary. So what happened with this bill, when I got the bill for analysis, I proposed a few modifications, most likely based on the year. So I wanted to clarify, the adoption dates versus the effective dates. And yesterday I was informed that the bill was modified, so all proposed edits went through, and the new version of the bill will include everything that you see here in yellow. The other thing here is that the bill requires the State Building Code Council to adopt this REACH code, but the entity that will develop the REACH code was the Department of Commerce. And initially in the bill, the statement was that the Department of Commerce will develop the technical provisions of the REACH code, and I suggested that the language include rulemaking documents required by RCW 34-05328, which is the most important part of this is the cost-benefit analysis. So when the council members receive the complete version of the REACH code, that again, Department of Commerce is empowered here to develop the technical requirements, the council members will be able to evaluate also the cost-benefit analysis that will be already prepared. The other important part is that the initial language as proposed was effective by 2023, and I requested July 1st, 2024, because it will give the council more time to evaluate and work on the adoption, which I was told will be accepted and will be included in the new version of the.
Joanne?
Yes, sir.
I can confirm just before 10 o'clock, it passed out of the local government committee with these changes and the proposed substitute with the due pass.
So this is all I have. DES helped me a lot to pass the edits, which I really appreciate. I know there are council members that have different opinions on the energy code, but with the time I had for the turnaround, and I reached out and I had a short discussion with a few council members, just trying to get some different opinions. So this is all I have for this energy bill. The next one is reducing greenhouse. Something else I forgot. For this energy bill, we have a huge fiscal impact on the Building Code Council staff. So we are asking for 2 positions, code specialists or otherwise program specialists. It depends of what kind of work we need to done. But we're asking for new positions to meet our obligations under this, and we have 2 other codes bills related to the energy code. That I think this is also important. The next one, reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Again, I have the summary. There were 2 dates that already passed. I don't know if a new hearing is scheduled. The important part for this bill is this doesn't directly affect the State Building Code Council business, because the Department of Energy is promulgating and enforcing these rules, but because it was related to energy code compliance, so I included it here. There is no fiscal impact on the council. There may be some impact on stakeholders, but again, it's not related to building code development and building code enforcement. So it's out of our hands, I think. The next one is Senate Bill 5732. It's related to green roofs on large commercial and multifamily buildings. That was a difficult one to evaluate and analyze. The requirement for the council is to adopt rules for green roof and solar requirements are required by December 31st, 2024. It directs the council to consider applicable national and international standards, but it doesn't really specify, if these are green codes or something else. When we start digging, I'm sure we will figure out what these applicable standards are, but currently the bill doesn't specify that. So you have the document, you can read everything, but what is the requirement here? If we consider the roof is 100%, and this bill will require green roof covering for 70% of the roof area. Okay, and there is also a table proposed in the bill that will provide different percentages. How many percent solar panels, how many percent green roof. There is something else, green/blue roof. Again, without going into too many details, I consider that we have major policy and operational impact on the State Building Code Council, because we may need to proceed with some changes to our procedures. This bill doesn't have only code requirements. It has something related to enforcement. How I can explain it: if you have a roof and you don't have 70% available because you have HVAC units or something else, you need to apply for exemption. And if your request is granted, then you need to pay $50 per square foot. Okay, $50 per square foot of the area that doesn't have the required green roof. This goes to, again, how it's written in this bill, this goes to an account that the local jurisdiction will have. To me, it's unclear what is the council involvement here. Okay, so I assume the bill will be modified for the next turnaround, but initially, I consider this has major operational impact, major fiscal impact to the State Building Code Council, and impacts on stakeholders. The summary message is that the bill will require the council to adopt the requirements with off-cycle rulemaking, and local jurisdictions will be required to develop and adopt administrative provisions for permitting, inspection, and maintenance, setting up special accounts, collect fees, and embark funds. So this is not, again, only code adoption and code development. This includes something else that I don't know how the council can get involved in that. Regarding the requirement to develop the standards, to me, it was unclear if we need to include these changes in the energy code, in the building code, in the plumbing code, adoption of green code. There is a little bit of everything.
Thank you, Stoyan. Shell?
Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, as the architect representative for this, who works for the firm that does lots of green roofs. I do have some pragmatic concerns with the language and the requirements. And I don't know what we would need to do to provide that to the legislature, but I've just got some serious concerns about those things.
Thank you, Shell.
When I have the summary for you, I do the code analysis, but I have 3 days a turnaround. If I can find council members, I try to have at least have a discussion to get some opinions. I discuss with the rest of the team, the folks with the State Building Code Council staff. But keep in mind that you know, some of these bills, you ask 10 people, you'll get 9 different opinions. So if you disagree with me, take this into account, that at this particular moment, I can share my personal opinion on that if I don't have the chance to discuss this with the Ledge Committee or the council. I try to involve at least 2 council members just to have some feedback. And I do my best, but I also understand that not all of you may agree with my analysis and my recommendations. The next one is,
Ryan?
yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt you, but if you scroll back up a little, please. So the next committee action there, is it a hearing or is it a public hearing on the 26th? Shell, is that something you want to discuss with Stoyan before the hearing?
Well, I guess I don't know what the jurisdiction of the Building Code Council is to weigh in on certain things. I have several concerns, some of which I don't know may align with what we're allowed to testify on buildings as the Building Code Council, and some of it which may not. And I don't know which is which. So
I have 2 options. If the State Building Code Council is administratively part of the Department of Enterprise Services, and I do the analysis for the Department of Enterprise Services. Very often, you know, DES and the State Building Code Council will have the same opinion on a particular bill, but sometimes you may disagree. So I can use the Department of Enterprise Services and pass a message as the one with the energy bill, which was again very, very helpful and beneficial for me. Or if the council wants to have a position on a particular bill, I guess the council can authorize the council chair, or vice chair, or a council member to attend the hearing and speak in behalf of the council, or the council managing director.
But Stoyan, it's the history of this is only the council as a whole can take that action, not the legislative committee.
That's correct. Yes, not the Ledge Committee. Yes.
And often we don't meet frequently enough to be relevant during the quick sessions.
I don't have the solution. I wish I had. We had this discussion again the last time during the last session, and you know, my ears are open. You know, everything that you can suggest, I can follow. But on my side, I don't know what is the better option. These energy bills, if the council wants to, well, the council has a position always, but if the council again wants to authorize somebody to attend the hearing and speak in behalf of the council, that's an option. But the council meets once. The council meets once per month, and I'm sure Krista will have something to correct me. She likes that.
I'm not necessarily correcting you. I'm just pointing out that there is also the possibility that council members can testify as members of the public on their own behalf, just making sure that they are not representing the voice of the council, but their own.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, of course. We had 1 or 2 meetings with Dirk the last session, and he was trying to clarify, you know, what each of the council members can do, representing or not representing the council.
All right. Any additional questions right now before we move on to the next bill? Okay, go ahead, Stoyan.
So the next one is stipends for low income or underrepresented community members of state boards. Okay. So what this bill says is it specifies that any member of a group formed by a state office, agency, board, commission, or other similar entities eligible to receive stipends for their participation. So in our case, building code council members and a technical advisory group members, okay? It also clarifies that nobody's council members or technical advisory group members are not eligible for stipends if they are federal, state, or local government employees. So maximum stipend is $200 for each day during the technical advisory group members or a council members meet, but it also includes additional funding for travel, child care, and all are listed here. So in regards to the council, I'll try to lower it down and summarize it. Regarding the council, so it will be the council's decision if we will have stipends, any money for the council members or for the technical advisory group members. We are not required to do that. The problem, as I discussed it with DES, because I'm using their budget unit for the budget, it's very difficult to implement and it's very difficult to put the budget together. There will be a huge fiscal impact. It's not only on the State Building Code Council, but many other state agencies. But we don't know this fiscal impact because, again, it needs to be carefully evaluated who is eligible for this and whether or not the council wants to use this and pay the technical advisory group members, how, and be very careful with the eligibility. So that's a difficult bill to analyze and difficult bill to implement, in my personal opinion. In 1971, we talked about this a lot. First was HB 2701, if I remember correctly, in 2020, and last year something else was introduced. And I will let Tony, if Tony wants to say something, or Ray, or both of them. I consider policy operational impact a major, because we have an implementation date in section 1. The implementation date in section 1 is December 31st, 2022. So new section, this is new section, requiring State Building Code Council to provide rules or amend codes by December 31, 2022, to require periodic testing plans for smoke control systems in existing buildings that do not already have a plan. Okay. And the council must also provide as part of the rulemaking code amendment process. My issue with this was that I think we may need off-cycle rulemaking, okay? Because this rule requires amendments of the fire code and the building code, and we already have our code proposals for fire code and the building codes. The proposals are filed and posted for public comments. Public hearings are already scheduled. So I don't know if we add new proposal, that will really affect the current code adoption process. So again, for the technicalities in this bill, I will ask if Tony is aware of it, or Ray, because I don't feel knowledgeable on that. I know we had some issues with the original bill HB 2701. The council was required to coordinate with the fire marshals, I believe. for implementation, and there were some issues with implementation and enforcement. So all we did was a message on our website informing the jurisdictions that there is an RCW that they need to follow.
Yeah, I'll just add to that a little bit. With the work group that was working on this updated legislation, Karen Grove with City of Seattle sent me an email kind of updating me on a couple of these things. And I'm just going to take a couple of small paragraphs here from that just to kind of go over some of the main changes to it and maybe clarify, Stoyan, some of your concerns with the rulemaking portion. I think that's covered in this. So the email that I received this week was that the HB 2701 created limited certification that carved out jurisdiction for all smoke control work and dampers for new construction and existing for essentially just the sheet metal workers, because the certification that was specified was union specific. This year's bill, which is the one we have in front of us, retains the emphasis on effective smoke control and damper regulation, but moves the RCW language closer to the model code in a variety of areas, including personnel qualifications, citations and enforcement, and testing requirements from the building code, new construction, and fire code for annual testing. The bill also refers to SBCC to confirm, modify, and codify, and has the RCW language sunset at the time that SBCC acts. This allows the detailed regulations to be removed from the RCW in the future and handled exclusively in building code and fire code, plus WAC, which is a more appropriate way for these code matters to be structured. And so it would remove it from the RCW and put it into the WAC, is I think the idea behind it. Some of the language, I'm not saying all of it, but there would be, I think the driving language would be the RCW, but a lot of it would live in the WAC.
My issue was with the time frame. That's all.
Okay.
You know, based on the date. So if it was group 2 and you know, with the tight schedule, we still would try to add whatever is needed, but you know, group 1 is already closed. Well, it's not completely closed, but the proposals are already posted for a public comment period, and this will require new proposals. So we can discuss the details later after the last you know, we'll follow the bill, but my issue was the time frame.
Okay, all right, thanks, Ryan.
The next one is HB 2049, encouraging construction of affordable housing by eliminating redundancy and streamlining the permitting process. So there was a similar bill introduced last year. What it says in very brief summary is, if the building department receives plans from licensed architects or engineers, the building department is required most likely to approve the plans, okay, without again spending more time with the details. I have major impact on State Building Code Council, although you know the bill doesn't really impact the council directly, but it has impact on operation of local building departments. Okay, and we have some language in the WAC 51, and also chapter 1 in the model codes, which gives cities and counties authority to enforce the building codes. But this bill will make some changes. I guess the issue is if there is a person who is licensed by the state and went to school to be an architect, I guess these folks feel that a plan checker won't have enough knowledge to do the plan check. It was one of the comments that I saw, but the intent of this bill, as shown, is encouraging construction of affordable housing by eliminating redundancies and streamlining the permitting process. The intent is you get the plans submitted by a licensed engineer, for example, and you approve them, and you don't need 1 month to review the plans. That's what it is. No fiscal impact. Again, the State Building Code Council is not even listed there. Late last night, another bill came up. I don't know if you folks are following the session, but this is interesting one, SB 5928. The short description is increasing housing access and affordability by decreasing construction costs associated with the Washington State Energy Code for residential buildings. And what this bill does is to do the opposite. You know, doesn't post new requirements. It deletes existing requirements for the council related to the adoption of the residential energy code. Okay, so again, the intent is to encourage affordable housing in all areas of the state, and clarifies the legislative intent to balance the housing needs with the promotion of efficient and sustainable housing. Okay, so some existing mandates are deleted in this bill. I'll list 3. Construct increasingly energy efficient homes in buildings that help achieve the broader goal of building zero fossil fuel greenhouse gas emission homes in buildings by the year of 2031. This is an existing requirement in RCW. This bill deletes it. Require new buildings to meet a certain level of energy efficiency, but allow flexibility in building design, construction, and heating equipment efficiency within that framework. That's deleted as well. Allow space heating equipment efficiency to offset or substitute for building envelope thermal performance. That's deleted as well. And then adds no residential building, the phrase no residential buildings, to specify that the State Building Code Council shall evaluate and consider adoption of the International Energy Conservation Code in Washington State in place of the existing state energy code for non-residential buildings only. So we don't have this clarification. And I apologize again, I got it late last night. I don't have the analysis completed, so I'm just improvising now. Okay. Policy and operational impacts, there will be major because we already have most of the work done. The proposals are almost ready to go, and we need to start from scratch, developing something new. Something important that I forgot was that this bill pushes the effective date 1 year. So instead, July 1st, 2023, this bill changes the adoption date to January 1st, 2024, and the effective date to July 1st, 2024. So I don't have more because, again, I didn't have the time to analyze it, but if you want to take a look, it's interesting bill, SB 5928. Okay, and I'm done. I promised.
All right, thank you. Todd, anything else?
Oh, thank you, Chair.
All right, so I guess question before us, do we want to make any motions to permit anyone to speak on anything? Todd, what are your thoughts on that? Do you want to?
No, I except unless there's a direct request from Stoyan and staff. I'm of the opinion it's not needed right now.
Okay, Stoyan, any motions you want made?
I follow your recommendation for the State Building Code Council staff to stay neutral on bills until asked otherwise. I think these are important bills, and if I have a direction from the council, I will follow the direction. If I don't, I will do the analysis. I'll try to keep it on the website. So if you folks have the time just to take a look and let me know if you are further interested in something that or you disagree with my analysis. But I don't think I want to request something specific. So far, the most important ones are first the energy bill. That again, the edits were implemented as requested. The green roof. I don't even know how to have a position on this one because it was really unclear to me. The language was vague. So even if I ask the council for direction, I don't even know what I can ask.
Stoyan, Andrew, can you perhaps remind the council what the precedent has been with allowing, if I remember correctly, there was one year where the council voted to allow the chair, right? The council chair to represent. Is that correct?
Right, that was a couple years ago. So yeah, the council can do that, or as Stoyan mentioned also, we can permit the executive director to speak for the council for us.
I think the issue here, everyone, is that by the time we meet again in a month, all the committee work should be done. So if there's any request, it would be right now for the council.
Right, so I'm able to speak. Stoyan, I think is, but you know, either way, I'm able to if anyone has specific issues that they would like the council to voice.
I assumed the position February last year, and I worked with Richard for a month and a half, and his recommendation was try to not to get involved in this. And the previous chair, her recommendation was that, again, we stay neutral until specifically asked by the council. And I'm open for your recommendations. I just, again, I wanted intentionally to clarify that the position you see in my analysis, it's based on discussion with other people and entities, but I can't say that it summarizes all council member opinions.
So anyone can speak up as a constituent here as well on their own. So I just wanted, well, we all want to make sure that everyone fully understands. So speak now, or you know, otherwise the SBCC will just be monitoring these, which is fine. So
I work very closely with the Department of Enterprise Services legislative staff, and with Ann Larson, who is the government relations director, and they help me a lot. And sometimes if they ask me, okay, what's the council position? Well, the council doesn't have a position, again, because of a time frame or because of complicity of a particular proposal. So this is the time when I'm having a difficult time to proceed, but I do my best to involve. I try 2 or 3 council members, whoever I can find, just to give me some extra feedback on particular bill. But that, for me, it's when we get into the session, that's the most difficult time for me during the entire year.
Thank you for all the work you do. Shell.
Yeah, thanks, Stoyan. I appreciate all the work you do as well. But you still do provide technical feedback on the bills, regardless of what, you know, without consulting the building code council or taking a position on the bill, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So like changing 2023 to 2024 for the one bill and a few other technical considerations. So just want to make sure everybody's clear on that one.
Jay?
Chell jumped to my point. I want to make sure Storian was empowered to weigh in on those important process issues.
Yep, and he was and he does, so.
I
Yeah,
try to
thank you.
provide the technical expertise. I try to suggest modifications to the proposed language. What else? I work with the DES budget staff, budget folks, and the fiscal note. Last session, I followed the path that my predecessors, what they were doing, and I said, okay, we can absorb the work. And I made a mistake because for each bill, yes, we can absorb the work, but when we get 3, 4, or 5, that gets too much. So now I'm more careful, and I again work very closely with the budget folks, and we calculate each bill if there is a fiscal impact. So I can provide this information. I just I don't have the power to make a decision on, regarding the council position as a whole.
So Andrew, I'm hearing that the legislative committee and staff will continue to monitor and inform, but we will not be taking a position on any particular bill this year, or at least until meeting.
That's my understanding, unless anyone makes a motion.
Okay.
So any other questions or comments? All right, well, again, thank you. Does anyone need a break? It's been 2.5 hours. Okay, then we'll just keep going. So budget report.
Okay. For the budget, this is hot and fresh. I got it from our budget manager yesterday. What you see on the screen is for December. So fiscal year 22 planned through fiscal month 6, December 2021. And with the expenses, what is important here is that our balance sheet, our total net position is good. It's 1 million and almost $310,000. We were planning to make audit on the fees that cities and counties are sending to the state treasurer. I don't think we'll have the time this year, but the good thing is that we started receiving more and more, which is good. When you see on the graph the fees we were receiving, there was a jump like 3 months ago. So from 20,000 per month, we jumped to almost 200,000 per month, and then it's going down. So it's difficult to make an assumption or a comment here why it went up that much and why it's going down. Our expectations, my expectations, and the folks in the budget department was that it will normalize, but I'm not sure about that. You can see the graph, it went above $200,000, and at one time it was like $22,000. So this is our income. The expenses, the biggest expense right now is related to the litigation. we are exceeding our planned budget there. The good thing is, which is not really a good thing, but we are online, so we can switch some funds that you folks are not traveling right now because we are online. So we can balance that this additional expense. If Krista can go to the next, the spending authority. So what you see here is our related to our spending authority. Okay, so the gray color is our actual expenses through fiscal month 6. This is December. This is December last year. And the blue is the budgeted expense for the remaining 18 months. Okay, so we have the biennium, we have fiscal month 7, which is January 2022, through fiscal month 24, which is June 2023. So these are the authority to spend and the expenses for 2 fiscal years. Okay, so the black dashed lines, this is the current amount the State Building Code Council is authorized to spend. Okay, and if you remember, we requested the governor's office to include in the proposed budget more authority to spend because of many reasons. I don't want to get into details there, but in this diagram, the orange line, this is the amount that's included in the governor's budget to increase the State Building Code Council authority. Okay, so what we asked for was included in the governor's budget. So for 2 years, we have $753,000. Our request was based on our additional requirements to meet the Administrative Procedure Act. And our biggest expense was the cost-benefit analysis. We have included here a study. So we have a contract with a third party to develop the final cost-benefit analysis for the residential commercial code. If we succeed with this approach, we would like to have a third party again to develop the final cost-benefit analysis for the residential energy code. So this includes about $100,000 per year. We also have an obligation under a different RCW, so we need every 3 years we need to submit a report to the legislation. It's again related to the energy code. What we are saying in this report is, in this building code, we achieved that much of energy savings compared to 2006 energy code. So this is something else that we will use the funding again if it's approved by the Senate and the House. If you have questions about this, I don't know if it's clear or not. It took me a few hours to understand it, but again, I used help from the budget folks in DES. If you have questions, I can do my best to answer. If you don't, then we can go further to the third document, Krista, number 3. So I was lazy to develop my own document, so I used this policy brief that was issued by the governor, and this is related to, again, it's not the authority to spend, it's something else in the governor's budget. So on the first page, you will see that this proposal is related to the decarbonization of the building sector. Okay. The number $626 million. I wish we will be able to get everything, but we won't. Kristen, the next page, I think it's page, yes, thank you. Again, this is very basic information, and the information you see in this brief is included in this first energy bill 1770. So the numbers you see here are just for informational purposes. And Krista, please go to page 11 of this. You know, you folks, if you want, you can read everything, but I try to highlight the important sections. So when you go to page 11, Krista went there faster than me. So we have, again, under the decarbonization of the building sector, strengthening building energy codes, we have $753,000 for the State Building Code Council and the Department of Commerce, which I don't have more details. I don't know how much of this funding is for us. I kind of have some idea what we will need to do, but again, this is a proposal in the governor's budget. This is all I have.
All right, thank you. Any questions, comments on the budget? All right, so next up, council work plan.
The council work plan is something that Richard left me with a sticky note on his desk, and Krista is warning me every other month that we need to do that. And I tried to do, if not good job, I tried to be reasonable with this. This is what the council needs to do, and this is what the council staff needs to do. It's a formality. The council needs to approve it, but most of the information was provided under different agenda items, and the conversations, we already had these conversations when we were talking about the modifications to the schedule and the plan for the council and the dates for the council meeting. So this is just a summary what we're doing and trying to outline, you know, the staff hours needed to complete the work, and the council members. It's a very wild estimate. This is all it is.
Okay, and it's very general too. So, any questions or comments on this? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve it?
So moved. This is Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Second, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? Motion passes.
So the request for opinion, Ray did a good job summarizing what the request was, and also he included a link to an old opinion that was issued by the council in 2008, I believe. So the request for opinion is related to the interpretation of the definition for nightclub and how you apply the definition. The main reason for this request was, you know, some restaurants are working as karaoke, trying to avoid some requirements for sprinklers, fire sprinklers. But
Julian, I can give the
Andrew, yes, Andrew is more familiar with.
yeah,
with
this this is in my hometown, so I'm actually, working with the city and the building official, wanted some additional interpretations. So we've got some bars down in Pasco, and, for 2-3 nights a week, they may advertise dancers or karaoke, in which case you've got standing areas, you've got, tables that can be moved. It's not fixed seating that exceeds 350 square feet. So the question is that primarily used as a nightclub by definition, or not? So Krista, if you don't mind, clicking on the interpretation. So we can just go through that quickly to refamiliarize ourselves. So after the station fire in Rhode Island, we put in some retroactive requirements here for the 2006 building code that any nightclub be sprinklered. So nightclub is defined in the in our state building code as an amendment. And question, so here a question was raised: how do you determine if a space is primarily used for dancing or viewing performers? What would be the interpretation of performers? Would a karaoke singer be a performer? Would a piano bar be considered a nightclub? If live entertainment is only provided once or twice a week, would a facility be considered a nightclub? So in the definition of nightclub in our code, it states if you've got an area primarily used for dancing or viewing performers in excess of 350 square feet. So the answer back then, you can read one of the defining criteria for nightclub is floor area referenced in the definition. The floor area must be a concentrated use of standing space specifically designated and primarily used for dancing or viewing a performance and exceed 350 square feet. So the question is, if it's a bar, so it's not primarily used as that, maybe 2-3 nights a week, but the other 2 or 3 nights a week, it's advertised as having dancers and or karaoke, and tables are not fixed, so they may or may not be moved out of the way, in which case you'd have more than 350 square feet. Is that now a nightclub or not? So that's the background. Julian, I'll let you take over now. At that point, I just wanted to give the background.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Chair. So when
Tony, sorry.
Oh, when Ray and I chatted about this, and Ray, you can jump in. The interpretation from the code cycle that was 2006, I feel still fits, and I think that here in Yakima, what we've dealt with is that when someone sets up an arrangement for seating, and it's tables and chairs unconcentrated, and it's like a restaurant setting, but they may have like a DJ booth where they'll play music or do the karaoke thing. For us administratively to follow the correct procedures at a local level, which is where a lot of this is laid out in county and city ordinances, is that if they have an approved use for tables and chairs for that area, then that's what you would honor, and vice versa. Now, if the idea is that they would 1-2 nights a week have a DJ or karaoke, push all the tables and chairs to the side, now we're literally following the progression of steps that happened with the station nightclub fire in Rhode Island. That's when that concern comes up. But for me, I feel like that's something to be followed through on at the local level. And once that is proven, or doing an inspection on a Friday night or a Saturday night, then go through the administrative procedures that are set forth in your jurisdiction in order to remedy those, whether they're going against their agreed upon use with the city or the county, and then following those steps appropriately. I think to define karaoke as yes nightclub, no nightclub, very black and white is a slippery slope for the council to go down. And I think it really does come down to the local jurisdiction. So that's kind of my take, but I'm willing to hear what others have to say.
Sounds like everyone may be in agreement with you, Tony. You know, I guess we were hoping to be able to give an answer that would be blanket, but that's difficult. As you mentioned, every situation is different, so it should be left locally. So that's basically what all these answers say to these, if you want to read through that it's. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that we're a small county. We don't have a nightclub here, but if suddenly a local restaurant wanted to do a stand-up comedy night, I think it would be up to the local inspector for the city to make that decision, not have pre-existing code for something like that.
Ready, Shell?
Yeah, so I guess I'm assuming that this is not in reference to someone who submitted a permit application for a change of use or anything like that. This is simply, they pushed the chairs and the tables to the side and are now operating it in a way that may or may not be different from how they permitted it a number of years ago.
Correct.
Right. So the inspectors would not necessarily be going out to the site on any regular basis. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Unless, of course, they see an advertisement for a specific event, you know, and they happen to be paying attention.
Yeah.
Andrew, this is Ray. When I was doing my research with Tony, I called a couple other jurisdictions to see what they were kind of thinking along these same lines, because I'm sure there's other people dealing with it. And they were under kind of the same impression as Tony and I of using the word karaoke. Then is it going to be what Bob said? Is it going to be stand-up comedy night, or is it going to be amateur night? Isn't they're going to start using a key word to get around loopholes? So that's why we kind of left it up the way we did.
Can we get Tony to give us a demonstration of karaoke?
I'll go ahead and abstain.
Any other questions or comments? If not, then I guess we'll take an official motion if you'd like to make this an official opinion of the State Building Code Councils.
This is Tony, so moved.
Thank you, Tony. Is there a second?
This is Bob. I'll second.
Thank you, Bob. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And is anyone opposed? And motion passes.
Tony, or Andrew, excuse me, I think Bob seconded. Is Bob a council member? Bob's
Yes,
not-
I am.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Bob. I was.
Yes, Skamania County West Side representation.
He went with the full name and he got confused.
Sorry about that.
Sorry for my hesitation too, Bob. Alrighty, so I believe next up is just other business.
No, we have the staff report.
Staff report. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I
sorry,
just
sorry,
listed
yes,
it after other
apologize,
business.
I apologize. Other businesses before staff report, I apologize.
It's okay.
I was in a hurry to do the report, this is why.
All right, well, hopefully we'll get to it very, very soon. Todd?
Thank you. I have a quick question request. I had a question on where the group 1 and group 2 IBC chapters are defined. I was wondering if we could maybe put that up on the webpage. And if it is, and I can't find it, my apologies.
I guess I didn't understand the question. So did you mean that you,
since in my understanding, this is the first cycle that the State Building Code Council has divided the IBC like is done at the national level in model code. The question was, as we're coming into now proposals for group 2, which includes some IBC chapters, can we define it, lay that out very clearly, which chapters are still along with the IEBC, right?
yes, and I wanted to do that because with group 1, we got some proposals for chapter 24 and chapter 16 that we overlooked. So we found out about it when we were completing the proposal list, and so we took out these proposals and we will introduce them in group 2. But yes, we'll try to add a message or something to the website that will clarify which chapters are under group 2.
Thank you.
This is really confusing even for the staff, and I don't know how the public is understanding this difference, but we'll try to provide a message on the website.
All right, thank you, Stoyan. Any other business? All right, Stoyan, the floor is yours with your staff report.
Okay, I will be it will be a short explanation. First, I mentioned that during the executive session that it was discussed a lot. We signed a contract with the third party, and our third party is Ecotop. We reached out to 3 entities, and we decided to sign a contract with Ecotop. What they will do, we will prepare the cost-benefit analysis, and Krista was working really hard, and finally she sent me a message last night. I don't know, Krista, 12 o'clock at night, about that time, that she completed it. So now we have the preliminary cost-benefit analysis. Ecotop will have the preliminary cost-benefit analysis. They will do their own research. They will collect the comments, or we will help them collect all comments we will receive related to cost and benefit of the proposals. And their goal will be to prepare the final cost-benefit analysis. However, they will provide the council members with a draft for the first draft will be for the meeting in March. And then the council members can use it when they discuss the energy code proposals, and the same or updated draft will be available for the last council meeting in April. Well, it's not the last, but that will be the adoption meeting, the meeting where the council members will adopt the energy code. So this will be information that each council member can take into account when voting on the proposals. It's a very brief information, but I didn't want to waste your time, and we just the CR 102s and all proposals for the energy code, they were posted 2 days ago, and the comment period opened on January 19th. And I think I'm asking myself, I think it's a good idea if we have a message on the website that will say when is the comment period and when it ends, just in case for folks that don't read deeply into the CR 102. But this is our decision for the commercial energy code. If it works well, then we will follow the same path for the residential energy code. The second thing that I want to cover during my staff report, Krista, can you open the proposal form? Currently, we are using a proposal form to collect proposals for all codes. We have a special proposal form for the energy code. The proposal form I have here is not specific to the energy code, but if you like it, we will modify the energy code proposal form as well. These forms, they don't need council approval, but I wanted to share with you what we are doing and where we are going, because when we received the comments, there weren't that big issues with the energy code, I would say, but there were some issues with the building code. I didn't work on the fire code, so I'm not sure if the fire code is the same, but when we were evaluating the proposals, there wasn't enough information on the proposal related to a rational or a cost benefit or small business economic impact, or whatever it is. And if we don't have enough information, we need to research it, and we need to add the missing points. In addition to that, we had all over the place different formats with this proposal. Some formats are using underline strike through, others are not using anything. We had proposals that were showing changes to the model code. We had proposals that were showing changes to the WAG. We had bold, showing everything. So we wanted to clarify, what is really needed. And you will see under item 4, the second paragraph, we added this text to further explain what we need with these proposals. It was very difficult, even for me, to identify, what was going on with this proposal, and we have John working on this, and he got lost, and I understand why. So it will save staff a lot of time that we can use wisely for something more important. In addition to that, under item 7, and Caroline, thanks to her, she helped a lot with that. So for all these proposals, we have some kind of cost benefit analysis, but not really enough. Again, I will exclude the energy code, but for the building code, I'm using the building code, for example. Let's say we have, this will cost $2 per linear foot, okay? Well, that's not really any analysis, because, okay, so we, staff need a month to complete the data there. And as you know, the council is not a proposing agency. The council receives the proposals from third parties, stakeholders, public, other state agencies, and the council staff doesn't have the time and even knowledge in occasions to go through every single proposal and complete the cost benefit. So in this form, under item 7, we try to spread out what is exactly required. And if we get more information related to each proposal, then we will have more time to put the puzzle together and have all documents available in a shorter time. Because this time we spent so much time for something that we shouldn't be doing. And I'm talking about the council staff. So this is all I had for today. You can look up the form. It will be on our website. It's not finalized yet. So if you can provide a feedback, I will appreciate it. If you don't want to waste your time for that, it's okay too. It doesn't, again, need the council approval. We were just trying to make it better for everybody.
When do you think the final form will be available?
Well, I can post this today or tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, if that's what staff likes, if that's got everything, everything I saw looked good. I'm all for saving staff time. So any other comments? All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay. Well, let's adjourn and have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
So just some real, and I kind of wound this back to somewhat of a specific